Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe is usually the one that opens, but hey, we got phone calls, we got customers that we attend to, so you never know what you'll hear, from day to day. I know everyone loves the Joe Open. I mean, it's just like a pair of comfortable shoes, Joe, or slippers. It's just you don't want to give them up because it's the same thing you've used over and over, right? But the Joe Open, not today. Joe had to step away.
Not today. Listen, it was for a good reason. We've got something awesome that we're going to run. First time ever, never, ever have we had this item before, this product before. It involves what I like to call the other white meat. In this particular case, of course, when we talk other white meat and precious metals, you got gold, you got silver. Those are the big two. But you also have rhodium, which is very hard to get, very expensive, right? You don't make a lot of rhodium. Rhodium is a very hard metal. It really chews machines up, so a lot of mints won't even touch it. So you got to go to an independent type of a mint, and usually when you see rhodium, it's a bar. 1 ounce bar, 5 ounce bar, 10 ounce bar, and they're like once a year you can find them somewhere and sell them. Then of course you got the other two, which are a little better known, in platinum and palladium, heavily used in what I'll call the pollution type industries, catalytic converters, also solar power reflective type metals, and of course I have an all out screaming buy on platinum. It really hasn't done. It's gone up, it's gone down, but it's kind of right where it's at when I told you to start buying it. And of course, remember, I've been telling you to sell palladium. Man, I've been right on that one. It's gone from 1,800 all the way down to 1,100 and change. But a great opportunity in platinum is going to be coming up. I was just wrapping that up, so I wasn't here for the open. But today, when we talk about, hey, what's up for today? Well, we're going to get Fed minutes. Yes, the 2 weeks after the meeting, and finding out a little more detail about how many, and I think this is what they're going to be looking for, how many of these Fed governors want to stop raising rates. I don't think it's going to be a very big number, but the more that there are in the don't raise rates camp, the better that news will be received. Right now, everything is flat. Nobody's going to do anything until that comes out. We did get more earnings out today. Target, probably the biggest of them all, very similar to Home Depot. Hey, sales are down. Matter of fact, Target said sales are down, and we expect it to get worse, down in the mid to high single digits for the second half of the year. In this quarter, sales were down 2%. Now, some of that, right, Target tried to go woke, figure it out. Maybe they did a little better job than Bud Light of getting out of it and moving the what I'll call the woke stuff to the back of the stores, or getting them out of the stores. But that's what Wall Street wants to believe. Well, it's because they were trying to go woke, and that's why. I don't think so. Home Depot wasn't woke, and they were down. But that was one, TJ Maxx, the home goods, so they do home goods, apparel. They had same store sales that were up, so they were a bright spot on the retail side. But Jason, everybody's waiting for these Fed minutes.
Yeah, we'll wait for them, and we'll see what comes of it. But I think it's going to be more of what we've been hearing over the last 2 years, which is we're going to look at the data that they want to look at, and they will respond to what the data tells them. And to me, Joe, it's going to be, well, what's the data going to say over the next month for next month? That's going to be the big. That's what's really going to be important. Is well, is it another rate hike? And I think you're thinking about the every other meeting hike. So this would be a pause followed by another hike. But until there's a pause and the economy looks like it's falling apart, the big market movers, they want those rates to go down. All these guys, the free money guys, they want the rates to go down, Joe. And I don't know if we're going to see that for a while.
That's not going to happen. Not this year for sure. I think it's going to be hard. The Fed wants to skip this meeting. Period. The Fed wants to skip this meeting. If there's a whiff that they're going to skip it, obviously you'll see gold and silver and Wall Street rally. If there's a whiff that, you know what, the data's just not helping, it's not enough, they're probably going to have to go again. Then you'll see what we've been seeing, which is pressure being applied. But the big news of the day has nothing to do with Fed meetings. It has nothing to do with earnings. It has to do with the rating agencies. And, man, they have become extremely prevalent all of a sudden. We had, Moody's downgrading banks a week ago. Fitch, who downgraded U.S. debt 2 weeks ago, yesterday said, get ready, banks. We're getting ready to downgrade all of the U.S. banks that they follow. Today, Fitch wasn't done. This time saying China's debt rating. Get ready, right? We're getting ready to downgrade their debt rating. Why do I feel like Japan's probably just around the corner of this whole debt money system, this fiat money system? The rating agencies are getting ready as well, right? They know, listen, the end of money as we know it is coming, and now the rating agencies are going to start helping out by downgrading it all. We'll be back after the break. $800-951-0592. The Dow was down pretty big. Yes, just under 400 points. We're starting to see these swings again, which, that volatility is always another one of those things that people look out for. Right now, the markets are calm. Again, I think they're all waiting on these Fed minutes. And again, the overemphasis on the Fed here. Listen, anybody who thinks that rate hikes are over and inflation's going away, you just don't know what you're talking about. The only place that inflation went away was in the the fake inflation calculations the Fed uses. Period. I mean, you've all seen it, right? Everyone's gotten gas again. What the heck happened, right? Yeah, well, get used to it. Food prices aren't going down. By the way, I hate to tell you this, medical prices. Everybody's expecting a surge in medical cost, and obviously disasters like what's happened in Hawaii, you're already seeing insurers like, hey, we don't want to insure in California. We don't want to insure in Florida. Are we going to have the dreaded hurricane season with all the warm water? All of these things add to cost on top of everything else that's out there, and they're in this box. But right now, the markets are calm. The Dow's up 70, the S&P's up 4, the Nasdaq's down 20. Gold is dead flat here. Silver, same thing. Silver, dead flat. Crude oil is down 10 cents, so let's call that flat. The 10-year note, it's flat, right? 4.21 on a 10-year note. So again, I hate a lot of theater going on in the markets today. If you're tired of theater, check out our friends at Y-Refi. Be diversified. I cannot stress enough to you. Get that money out of the bank. What are you doing? You're just asking, the stove is hot and you have your money in the bank. Well, you're touching the stove. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you, whether you add to your gold and silver holdings, you call someone like Joey and get at Northwestern Mutual, places that aren't banks, or you check out our friends at Y-Refi, up to 10.25% return. Really? I mean, and it's fixed. It's not tied to Wall Street. Doesn't care about the Fed. Doesn't care about the rating agencies. It doesn't change. You can turn your income on. You can turn it off. Heck, if you need your money back, you get your entire principal back. I mean, this is when people ask, hey, Joe, Jason, why do you guys do why refi? Because, right, don't you want everyone to put all their money into gold? Well, of course, we tell you, no, we've never said that. That's why we have Joey. That's why we have these guys. And I love how they do things, right? They do things like Patriot does things. No fees, no games, right? We're just going to be right above board with you. You got to have a minimum of $50,000. That's just the bottom line. But check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-Y-REFI-24. But, Jason, like I said, the news of the day really is happening in China. This is the yen in Japan, which today is right at almost 146. Right? Remember, that 150 tipping point. I remember when the yen used to be 100. Right now we're talking about 150. And more than likely, before the end of the fiat cycle, it's probably going to be 200 plus, which would put that, I don't know, at 200 plus, what's it worth, a half a cent, right? Something like that. But China, right now, China's rated A plus. Okay? So when you think about the U.S., we're double A minus. So, I'm sorry, double A plus, my bad. I don't want to, double A plus. Then you got double A, right? Double A minus, and then A plus. So right now, China is rated like Wells Fargo, Citigroup, right? In other words, China's rating right now is where Fitch yesterday warned that this is where J.P. Morgan and Bank of America are headed, right? To this A plus rating. But now they're saying China is under review for a possible downgrade. Jason, China, we listen, they're cutting rates. There's a lot of people now calling for, that helicopter money in China. China's actually going through kind of the equivalent of our housing crash in China right now, and this is something where a lot of these property lenders are not making their payments. They're in default, and obviously people are looking for China to ramp up the debt levels, essentially.
Yeah, Joe, and we've talked in 2022 especially a lot about their property problems or their real estate problems, and I briefly on one show some months ago, I was talking to Joe that I don't think China is going to be the number one economy. I don't think they're going to make it. And I think the reason behind that, Joe, and I still believe this, they don't have the world reserve currency, so they can't go find a petrodollar like we did in the 70s. They don't have cures to their economy crashing. And with competitors like India on the rise, I really do see China. If this next huge crash that the world goes through, China could be one of the biggest pieces to why everything fails because they have the manufacturing. But somebody can take that, Joe. Somebody could take that away. And how many years would markets be in strife if they start building industry in Africa or other places? Or, I mean, it's not as cheap to do stuff in China as it used to be. It's just not as cheap. That's why I think you may start seeing some manufacturing coming back up. You've seen a lot of it in Mexico building up, and maybe here in the United States. And if America has to start manufacturing again economically, Joe, that's stagflation. That's sideways. That's not big money days like we've seen.
Yeah. That's never going to happen. People, it's a myth.
China's on its way down, man. I'm telling you.
You think, China can go down. We're in manufacturing here. That's all I'm saying. That's a myth. Anybody that wants to believe we're going to be manufacturing. Now, are we going to manufacture some things here? Yes. Of course we can. Like MyPillow, Mike Lindell, right? He's figured out a way to do it. But by and large, the things that, first of all, our government doesn't allow for us to get the resources you need to make a lot of the stuff, right? Or from an environmental standpoint. So just just to get enough iron ore, as an example, or lithium, or whatever it may be, you got to get it somewhere else. You can't get it here. And but today, well, could it go somewhere else? Absolutely. Is China gonna not be the number one economy in the world? I think they will. Absolutely, they will in the next 10 years. But eventually, I think Jason's right. 20, 30 years from now, India may be number one. I don't know. But they got the most people, right? Both of those economies have a lot more people. But this is a big deal. China, it used to be, it didn't matter. Listen, Japan, look at the 87 crash. Look at what happened. Japan's still not back. Did it mess up the whole world? No, it didn't. I mean, Japan right now, they're either depending on who you ask, they're the third or fourth largest economy in the world, right? China's passed them by a lot. Now India, they're getting ready to pass them. But they weren't big enough. China's a different animal. You're talking about an economy, a GDP approaching $20 trillion. This is a big deal. This is a big, big problem globally when we talk about global supply chains and the things that are happening. And again, I think China's going to come out like listen, they're just like Jason always says it all the time. You don't think these central, they're all the same, right? China's going to come out with the bazooka, right? They're going to come out and spend a lot of money. I mean, look at our economy. We're going to have a $2 trillion budget deficit, and they're trying to tell us, but everything's great. Well, if everything's great, why is the budget deficit $2 trillion outside of the one COVID year? This will be the biggest budget deficit we've ever had. And in that one COVID year, we shut down the whole economy. This is worse. It's going to be worse than after the financial crisis type deficits. And the problem is 2024, right? Everyone's like, well, the question isn't, is it going to be $2 trillion? The question is, can we stay below $3 trillion? Jason, and again, I think what people need to take from all of this, what do I need, Joe, what do I need to take from this? Look at what the rating agencies are doing. They're not doing this alone. I am of the belief, Jason, they have been told, hey, start downgrading. Start downgrading fiat money. Everywhere you see fiat money, let's start downgrading it because guess what? We want the next crisis to happen because we want to get rid of fiat money and they want to go to digital currencies as the savior. I mean, this is, if you can't see this setup, well, then apparently you want to be blind.
Yeah, and it's very possible that if China is going to lower their rates and start printing a bunch of money, it's not for sure because China has a different type of government than we do. But it could cause inflation to rise up very mightily here because everything will just be more expensive in China. Now, China does have the ability to force their citizens to work for nothing. I don't know if that's what they're planning. Hey, we're going to cut rates, print a bunch of yuans, and get our economy moving. It seems to me, Joe, they're going to have to pay their employees more, even as tyrannical as their government can be. And if that happens, Joe, then that's going to affect all your Walmart prices, all the gizmos and gadgets that come here. All that stuff's going to get more expensive, Joe. All of it.
Yeah, it's going to just be a very, I don't know. It's going to be a dark time. This is when rating agencies are talking about sovereign debt and essentially saying, hey, the two big powers of the world are both getting downgraded. Fitch already downgraded the U.S. Today, they warned about downgrading China. And again, we know there's been a big move away from dollars, especially in the BRICS nations. The big thing today is India today bought 1 million barrels of crude oil from the United Arab Emirates, who, remember, just last month started selling China oil in renminbis. Jason, today They made that sale in Indian rupees, so India, they've been buying Russian oil in rupees and renminbi. Today, they bought UAE oil in rupees. You go back 9 months ago, India bought all of its oil in dollars, right? China bought all of its oil. Heck, the whole world bought all of its oils in dollars. And remember what we talk about with oil. Why is it so important? It's so much bigger than any other market. It's so much bigger than soybeans or wheat or corn. It's so much bigger than gold or silver. I mean, it is the lion's share of the reason why the world holds dollars, Jason, is to buy crude oil. I mean, that's the primary reason. And at a time when, Fitch says, hey, we just downgraded U.S. debt because they're blowing up the debt. The debt's blowing up. Less and less people want to hold it. And the only way they're going to be able to sell it is to have to pay more interest. Well, guess what? That's a problem because they already got $40 trillion worth of debt to pay interest on. And now Fitch is saying, hey, guess what? The other guy with a lot of debt, we're getting ready to downgrade them too. That just means higher interest rates everywhere, doesn't it? Patriot Radio News Hour. We're coming back with a great special next. (800-951-0592) Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this. What is today? Wednesday. On this Wednesday. Quick look here. So gold, depending on where you look, gold's pretty flat still. I'll say it's down $1 in New York. It's up 50 cents in London. Silver's up in London 5 cents. It's flat in New York. Platinum's up $5 right now at $895. I have an item. We've never sold this item. Didn't even know it existed until today. We have 1 gram platinum bars. Now, we've seen 1 gram gold bars. Matter of fact, we've sold 1 gram gold bars. It's been a while because they're just so stinking expensive, and they don't make them like they used to. But you're talking about in an ounce, in a troy ounce. I don't care if it's gold, platinum, what have you. 31, technically 31 grams an ounce. Technically, it's 31.1 grams in an ounce. Here's what makes this special so appealing today. It's the price. So you can get a gram of platinum for $40. Okay, so $40, times 31, well, that's $1,240 to the ounce. Which, when you think about going all the way to the gram, that's not bad. That's not bad. Think about a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. Right? At a 1/10 of an ounce, you're still paying on sale $2,500. This is actually cheaper than that. And, of course, this is a lot less than a 1/10 of an ounce, right? This is like a third of a 1/10 of an ounce. But here's what makes it even better. So you get a gram of platinum at 40. By the way, I think platinum, when it runs, it is going to be big. I think it will be the biggest performer, whether it runs at the end of this year or 2024. I think we're going to see silver run. You're going to see platinum run, and platinum, I think, is going to be the best of the two. They come in a card, like a credit card. They've got 25 grams on this credit card. I'm going to let you save almost $5 a gram when you buy it in increments of 25. So you can buy 25, you can buy 1 card, 2 cards, 3 cards, it doesn't matter. But $895 for the card. So you'll get the 25, and you can break them off, right? And you talk about being able to barter and things of that nature. But let me tell you what that does when you think about the price per ounce. That puts you at below $1,100, about $1,097 an ounce. If we were to sell a 1 ounce platinum, the cheapest 1 ounce platinum coin, which would be like a maple leaf or maybe an Australian kangaroo, that would be about the price today, between $1,075 and $1,095. If you wanted to buy a platinum American Eagle, which by the way I don't have any, you would actually be paying about $1,150. So you can buy grams for the same price or less than you can buy a platinum coin, a 1 ounce coin. Jason, that's absolutely insanity when you think about this. Is really when we talk about, hey, what's the lowest denomination that they make in precious metals? It's the 1 gram, these little 1 gram bars. And normally they're the biggest price. You should be paying, $1,500, $1,700 an ounce buying it by the gram, but not today. You can buy 1 gram at a time, so 1 through 24 at $40, or just buy the whole card. Every card you buy, it's $895 for 25 breakable 1 gram pieces. If you buy 40, well, you get the 25 at the $895, the other 15 at the $40, because you got to break them up and do all that mumbo jumbo. So buy them in increments of 25 and really save a ton of money.
Yeah, I was talking to Joe before the show. I was like, let's give a discount price. I was thinking in the 900 range somewhere, maybe upper 900s, and so when Joe came in with $895 for the card, that's $105. Obviously, 25 times 40, that's $1,000 to buy 25 of them at the $40 price. If here's a good thing. If you're one of those guys that you're the roll of dime guys, you can just buy a little bit at a time. Here's one ounce, 1 gram of platinum for $40. You can get a little bit. But if you're going to buy platinum because you want to buy it and you love the fact that you can break these pieces off and it can be your barterable platinum, well, then $105 off when you buy the 25 gram card. That's great. I mean, it's just a little less than an
buy
ounce
10 of them.
on
I mean,
that card.
come on. I mean, that's like 10 ounce, just under 10 ounce, and you're not quite, each card's not quite an ounce, but at this price, it's insane. You're essentially paying zero premium to get the most fractional coin, and it's not a coin, fractional bar, fractional piece of metal, precious metal you can get out there. That's what makes this such a great deal. To sit there and say, wait a minute, I'm essentially buying in 1 gram increments, and I would be paying less than I would if I was buying a 1 ounce platinum Eagle. That's where the value is, Jason, without a doubt.
That's the value. And like I said, it's pretty cool because these aren't my favorite types of things to buy. But there are different people have different reasons for buying stuff. And this one here for the prepper and for the person that wants to have the card of platinum for good times and no apocalyptic situations, you got the 25 grams in the card at a very cheap price. And then if there ever becomes a barter situation, you're not going to have to take a little saw out and try to saw a coin out. That's not going to happen. This is made for that sort of situation, Joe.
Absolutely. And think about, platinum not very long ago, just a few months ago, was almost it was over $1,100. It's near the lows here, just below $900. This is, it's an absolute bargain here. We expect a huge platinum shortage to continue for the next several years after years and years of a platinum surplus. And remember, up until the last like 5 years, platinum's always been more expensive than gold. What a great opportunity. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, we're coming right back after the break. Eight 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, we got a couple of lines still open here. Brand new item for us. This is not available online. You will have to call for these, the 1 gram platinum bars. If you want them individually, 1 gram at a time, they're $40 a gram. If you buy them in the card, so that each card contains 25 breakable 1 gram bars, then you're going to save a bunch of money. $895 per card, which is a savings of $105. So not quite, just under $5 a gram off. And when you buy a card, you're essentially buying 1 gram bars at what you'd be paying, pretty close to what you'd be paying for the cheapest platinum coins. Not to mention, right, it'd be less than if the U.S. Platinum Eagle, they're always the most expensive. You'd actually be buying it less than a Platinum Eagle coin. At 800-951-0592. A major protest occurring in China today as China's, well, they're calling it China's Blackstone. Now, that's not black rock, but black stone. Still a pretty big deal. Missed an interest payment. And people are now lining up. They're saying that liquidity has dried up in China. And Jason, I imagine before the end of the week, if not this, maybe this weekend, I'll be shocked if China doesn't come out with some form of liquidity type program, trying to pump up or maintain some sort of semblance. Of course, this is all about property. You know, we talk about how bad commercial real estate is here in China. It's pretty much all property.
I think the days of their, big GDP numbers might be coming to an end, Joe. They're going to have sluggish numbers, I think, for a while. 3% for them, which would be really bad. 2%, 1%. I think they're going to start seeing stuff
bad.
like that.
Yeah, those would be bad numbers. Yeah.
And if we get into a worldwide recession / depression, you'll see recession in China, which is really bad. And if they come back, Joe, I don't think they come back with 6% GDP and big numbers.
I'll say this too: the 10-year note starting to tick up here now. We haven't gotten the release of the minutes yet, but the 10-year note 4.23. Again, this is the highest. I know mortgages are the highest in 20-plus years. The 10-year note now the highest in the same amount of time here. And Jason, it kind of leads me to believe that the markets are anticipating, hey, they thought they only had one more rate hike to go, right? This is, remember, the meeting in September is supposed to be a pause. Then another rate hike in October, and the Fed was going to wrap it up. I don't think that's the message that's going to be in the minutes today.
Once again, we'll see, right? We'll see. I mean, the economic indicators seem bad, so that they're going to want to pause, but then they just don't seem bad enough, right? Especially with employment. So, I mean, I think they're going to have an option here, Joe, because, once again, we're at quarter points. It's not like back where we were at half point and 3/4 of a point, Joe. They've got an option, but I think you're right. I think they want to keep showing a slowing of bringing the rates up. So I think they want to pause. You made a lot of sense when you said that, hey, they paused, they had a quarter point. Well, by doing another quarter point, that seems like worried more about inflation, and they want to brag about how they stopped inflation. They're really hoping that those CPI numbers and inflation numbers go down in the next few months so they can claim victory, Joe. That way, if they do pause and maybe even lower rates start printing, they've got that, hey, we did it, we beat the inflation. But inflation, I don't think, is as easy for the Fed to control as they're letting on.
I'm going to tell you there's a lot going on. A lot going on. You know, we mentioned very briefly Argentina with a major devaluation yesterday. They've announced that they are halting all beef exports out of the country. And why does that matter? Argentina is like one of the world's largest beef exporters. Beef prices, which are already ridiculously high. The reason is that the government is trying to negotiate new price levels for the meat industry. I mean, when you come out and you announce, hey, the currency is worth half of what it was yesterday, right? All of a sudden, that's a problem. You go to the grocery store, hey, what cost, and I don't know, the Argentine, is it a peso? Hey, it cost 10 pesos, now it costs 20 pesos. They've said that they will not export any beef for at least the rest of the month as they can try to keep prices down at home. This is definitely going to drive up beef prices around the world. I mean, think about it. So now Argentina, one of the largest beef exporters, hey, we're not going to export. India, right, one of the largest rice exporters, yeah, we're not exporting. Ukraine, one of the largest wheat exporters, well, with the Russia thing, they're not exporting. I mean, Jason, this is a recipe here for big problems everywhere.
Argentina is an enslaved nation to the International Monetary Fund. The International Monetary Fund, they own Argentina. And so when you're talking about these countries holding back commodities, sure makes me think that maybe cattle will be better to sell next year if they got some good pastures to graze them in and keep them alive. If it's cheap, cheaper than holding the cattle and selling them for big prices next year. Sure seems like holding on to things is better than holding on to the currency, Joe.
Yeah. So overnight, I said 50%. I was exaggerating. It was an 18% devaluation. Of course, the problem is they can say 18%. But what is it really? Probably closer to 50%, right? We'll be back after the break. $800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. The special today, we have the 1 gram platinum bars. They're $40. Buy a card of 25. Breakable 1 gram bars save $105, $895. Platinum right now at $896 to the ounce. So that works out. If you buy the card, you're like at about $1,095, $1,097, I think exactly, an ounce on platinum, which you'd buy a platinum coin for. Not a platinum eagle coin, but you could buy like a platinum kangaroo or a platinum maple leaf coin. But now you get them in the most fractional way possible at 800-951-0592. We also have silver dimes at $100 a roll. We even have silver rounds right now at $535 at 800-951-0592. And listening to comments from the Target CEO saying that theft has become all the rage, escalating theft and violence in stores, unacceptable. There continues to be unacceptable amounts of retail theft and organized crime. And I'll just say this, my wife is bringing our son back to school, right? So he enters his junior year of college. And she was talking about, he goes to the University of San Diego, and she was talking about the Target there. And this is in a nice neighborhood. It's this is in a newer mall, area, that you would consider, you'd be like, oh, yeah, this is a nice part of town. no doubt. You'd be like, yeah, nice part of town. All this stuff is new. She goes, I can't believe it. She was in Target because she needed, stuff for the room. Everything is locked up there, Jason. She was like, it was incredible what almost anything you wanted to buy, razor blade, shampoo, all of this stuff, toothpaste was locked up.
I was watching videos about this, Joe, last week, and they're locking up a lot of stuff. Yeah, they're locking up a lot of stuff, and I think it goes hand in hand with a lot of policies that if someone's walking out with goods, they're not going to tackle them and assault them to get the items back. So any compact items that you can fill your pockets with high-dollar items, those are all going to be locked up, and they're not quite as compact and valuable as they used to be locked up, Joe. It's not ammunition or something that's locked up. It's items that you wouldn't, just little packs of razors, things like you said, Joe, just little compact, expensive items. Or locking it all up.
We're talking about shampoo, right? I mean, a lot of the places we've got some of the makeup locked up. Razor blades aren't cheap, right? Okay, maybe you got some of those locked up, but toothpaste. Right? I mean,
they're pushing people to go to they're pushing people to go to Walmart.com, Joe, to just order it and ship it. That way they don't have to have it in stores anymore.
Don't have to sit there and wait. You got to push a button.
How long you got to wait
for somebody to come?
How long do you have to wait for one of these few clerks to walk up to you, right?
Listen, don't worry, everything's fine here in America, right? Give me a break. 800-951-0592. Jason and I were coming right back with a special half-empty cup that you're not going to want to miss.